Hitting a home run is potentially the hardest thing to do in all of sports, and to do it more than once in a game is nearly impossible. Yet somehow, there exists an elite group of athletes who manage to hit not just 2, not just 3, but 4 home runs in one game. In order of when they occurred, these are the 6 players who hit 4 home runs in a game since 2000. But first, welcome to Batter's Box, and thanks for joining. Mike Cameron was a well-rounded center fielder, but was known far more for his speed and defense than his power. Cameron had bounced around several teams in his early years, playing for the White Sox and Reds, but never finding a true home until he was dealt to the Mariners during the groundbreaking Ken Griffey Jr. trade. By the 2002 season, Mike had a few years in Seattle under his belt, and with his greatest power performance to date being only 25 home runs, he wasn't quite living up to his full potential. Mike had never been considered an elite power hitter, but with 2002 being his 6th full season, it became an extremely important year for him to prove his full worth. On May 2nd, 2002, Mike started off the day with a first inning bomb to center field, only to come up a second time in the first inning and hit another bomb. In his third at bat, he must have thought the ball was a watermelon because he hit another chimichanga. And with the baseball world sitting on the edge of their seats for Mike's 4th at bat, he did this.
And that pitch is hit to deep center field. Back goes Lofton to the track, to the wall. Cameron has done it.
But what Mike did on his last at-bat, coming literally inches away from a 5th home run, might just be the craziest part of the entire story.
The 3-2 to Mike. Swing and a fly ball deep to right field. This one is caught. Oh my goodness, what a catch deep in right.
Mike finished the game 4 for 5 with 8 RBIs and a 15-4 Mariners win, and his performance was so epic that the game is considered to be an all-time classic for the Mariners. It is so iconic that in 2020, fans were actually encouraged to tune into 710 ESPN Seattle tonight at 7 p.m. for an encore broadcast of his 4-homer game. Despite Mike's day of 4 home runs, he was never remembered by history as a power hitter, and finished his career with a very respectable but historically insignificant 278 home runs over 17 seasons. He remained a solid player, known for his Gold Glove defense and leadership up until his retirement in 2011. But what he accomplished that day on May 2nd was so incredible, it looked like it may not occur again for many years to come. That is until our next player did it only 3 weeks later.
That ball stolen into left center field. It's 3-0 Dodgers.
Shawn Green was a talented outfielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers and was known for his smooth left-handed swing and power at the plate. Green had established himself as one of baseball's premier sluggers heading into the 2002 season and was coming off an epic 49 home run season in 2001 that set the then franchise record for the Dodgers. However, Green was off to a very slow start to the season. He was in a huge slump and home fans were starting to boo him. With media criticism intensifying, Green needed a big game to silence his haters. May 23rd, 2002 started off like any other game, as Shawn hit a double off the wall in his first at-bat, but a home run in his second at-bat definitely helped to crank up his confidence. Shawn started to really heat up, because in his next at-bat, he hit another home run, and then another home run. With the stadium ready to explode, Shawn stepped to the plate a final time and did this.
The next one. There's a drive to right center field. He's done it. 4 home runs for Shawn Green.
Shawn ended the game 6 for 6 with 4 home runs and set an MLB record with 19 total bases in a single game. His power surge led the Dodgers to a 16-3 victory and was described as the greatest offensive game in MLB history. After this epic performance, Green continued to be a productive hitter for the Dodgers, but never quite reached the same level of dominance. He later played for the Diamondbacks and Mets before retiring in 2007. Though he never won an MVP or a World Series, his 4 home run game remains one of the most memorable offensive performances of all time, only potentially being matched by our next athlete.
At this level, he continues to hit. Shatters his bat. Tough play.
Carlos Delgado was already a well-established slugger by the early 2000s and was widely regarded as one of the most feared power hitters in the game. As the face of the Toronto Blue Jays, Delgado would consistently put up monster numbers, but despite his dominance at the plate, he was often overshadowed by bigger market superstars. Heading into 2003, he was coming off a 108 RBI season and was looking to prove that he was more than just a great hitter. He was one of the best sluggers of his generation. And what happened on September 25th, 2003 2003 would not only cement that legacy, but also make baseball history. Facing the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, Delgado stepped into the box in the first inning and launched a home run to deep center field. In his second at-bat, he crushed another bomb, and by the time his third plate appearance came around, the entire stadium could feel something special brewing. With fans on their feet, Delgado blasted his third home run of the game, and what happened next in his fourth at-bat made history. Not only did Carlos become the first player in MLB history to hit 4 home runs in 4 consecutive at-bats, but he also carried the Blue Jays to a 10-8 victory. Carlos might be the best hitter in the game, said Buck Martinez, Delgado's manager at the time. He is as smart a hitter as I've ever been around. And who could disagree with such a statement after Carlos's performance that night? Delgado finished the 2003 season with a sexy 42 home runs and 145 RBIs, which earned him a second-place finish in the MVP race. He went on to play for the Marlins and Mets to finish off his career, and by the end, he had tallied an impressive 473 home runs, more than enough to be part of Hall of Fame discussions, even though he has yet to receive the call to Cooperstown. Despite that, his 4 home run game remains one of the greatest single game performances in MLB history, and a feat that took our next player over a decade to repeat.
This is hit out toward right center field, hit pretty well, giving chase as Martinez, he pulls up, gone!
Josh Hamilton's journey to baseball stardom was anything but conventional. A former #1 draft pick in 1999, he was expected to be a generational talent, but personal battles with alcoholism nearly derailed his career before it even began. That reminds me, if you or anyone you know is struggling from substance abuse, mental health issues, or anything for that matter, you can get through this. I believe in you. But continuing, after years of setbacks, Hamilton finally found his footing in the big leagues with the Texas Rangers, and by 2010, he had won the AL MVP award. However, with free agency looming and questions about his long-term consistency, 2012 became a critical year for him to prove he was worth a massive contract. On May 8, 2012, Hamilton didn't just prove his worth, he put on one of the greatest individual performances in baseball history. Facing the Baltimore Orioles, Hamilton wasted no time making an impact, launching a 2-run shot in the first inning. By the third inning, he crushed another bomb, and when he stepped to the plate in the fifth, he sent yet another baseball into orbit. At this point, every person in Camden Yards was locked onto the game, and on the verge of making history, Hamilton did this.
How about another to center field, number 4?
With one powerful swing, Hamilton became the first player to join the 4-homer club in nearly a decade. And to make his night even more ridiculous, he actually went 5 for 5 with a sneaky double. Hamilton stated, "Obviously it's, other than being in the World Series, the highlight of my big league career." And with 8 RBIs, which easily led the Rangers to a 10-3 victory, who could blame him for saying so? After this unforgettable night, Hamilton finished the season with 43 home runs and a massive $125 million free agent contract with the Angels. However, injuries, personal struggles, and inconsistent play quickly led to a rapid decline. By 2014, his OPS had dropped to the low 700s, and by 2015, he was out of baseball entirely. Despite his short-lived dominance, Hamilton's 4-home run game remains one of the most incredible performances in baseball history, even if it was potentially topped 5 years later by our next player.
Knotted the score back up. Scooter Gennett, Kevin Pillar, and Brandon Crawford.
Scooter Gennett was not supposed to be a power hitter. At 5'10" and known more for his versatility than his bat, he had never hit more than 14 home runs in a season. In fact, he'd even been cut by the Milwaukee Brewers just a few months before his historic night. Picked up by the Cincinnati Reds, Gennett was seen as nothing more than a role player. Yet on June 6, 2017, he shocked the baseball world in a way that no one could have ever expected. Facing the St. Louis Cardinals, Gennett started his night off with a grand slam, an incredible feat on its own. But what came next was pure baseball magic. In his next at-bat, he hit another home run. And by the time he stepped up for his third at-bat, fans were sensing something special, because sure enough, Gennett launched a third home run into the seats. At this point, everyone in the stadium was buzzing. But this guy, who had never hit more than 14 home runs in a season, actually hit 4 in one game. In his next at-bat, their questions were answered.
Liner to right field. Gennett, the first run ever, with 4 home runs in a game.
With one final swing, Gennett made history and joined one of baseball's most exclusive clubs, going down as one of the most impressive and improbable games ever. Scott Van Pelt might have described how crazy Scooter's performance was best.
The most unexpected result of 2017 thus far, the night when everything went right for the most unexpected player.
Scooter finished the night 5 for 5 with 4 home runs and a jaw-dropping 10 RBIs, and led the Reds to an easy 13-1 victory. Despite this legendary night, Gennett's career never really picked up much steam. He followed up with a strong 2018 season, hitting 23 home runs, but injuries slowed him down, and by 2019, he was unfortunately out of the league entirely. His 4 home run game remains one of the most shocking performances in MLB history, proving that sometimes baseball's biggest moments can come from the most unlikely places. But while sometimes that is true, other times it is not, because baseball is just as you'd expect when a man named JD Just Dingers Martinez hits 4 home runs in one game. Unlike some of the previous names on this list, JD Martinez was no underdog. By 2017, he had established himself as one of baseball's most feared power hitters, and after starting the season with the Detroit Tigers and then being traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks mid-season, he wanted to make a splash. Facing the Los Angeles Dodgers on September 4th of 2017, Martinez kicked off his night with a towering home run. In his next at-bat, he crushed another one, and at this point, the Dodgers pitching staff had no answers for him. That is why when he stepped up for his third at-bat, it seemed to guarantee that Martinez would launch a third home run. Fans were left wondering if they were about to witness history, and with time running out in the 9th inning, JD did this.
JD Martinez! Is it 4? It's gone!
Martinez crushed a final dinger at the buzzer beater, becoming only the 18th player in MLB history to hit 4 home runs in a game, and only the 6th player in the 2000s. This was an insane night for JD, and unlike many of the other players who hit 4 home runs in a game, Martinez's career didn't decline afterward. It actually took off. He signed a massive deal with the Boston Red Sox, became a key piece in their 2018 World Series championship team, and continued to be one of the best hitters in baseball for years to come. As of today, Martinez remains the most recent player to accomplish the 4 home run feat, leaving baseball fans to wonder who will be the next player to join this legendary club. Could somebody do it this year or even next year on opening day? While nobody has ever hit 4 home runs on opening day, there are 3 players like George Bell and Dimitri Young who started the season off with a bang and hitting 3 home runs. Watch our video on the most epic opening day performances to see who else has shown up with their best stuff to start the season.